Alright, hello everyone, here we are, back for another tutorial here. This is going to be for Glenmonarch Estate, hole number 1. And the first thing that I'm going to put up here is Sniper 7. This will be the number 1 club that I would expect you guys to use. Next will be probably Guardian. You can get away with a 1 on this hole. And next let's come in here and get our hammerhead, and hammerhead you'll need at least a 4. Primarily the reasons as to why you need to be to a certain club in these for this tutorial is going to be based on backspin. So backspin is a key for this shootout, and you need to be able to get to a certain number of bars of backspin. So in all cases, let's take a look here. Here's my basic wind diagram. And for the headwind situation here, that's when we're going to back off and use the least amount of topspin. So my typical base case is going to be between 3 and 3.25, somewhere in there. Usually, towards 3. So either 3 to 3.25, it just kind of changes the way that you need to land. What I'll try to do is I'll try to get that backspin up a little bit for the most part. And for up here, we're going to go maybe, 3.75 or so, to as much as 4 in a full tailwind situation. So maybe here, 2.75 or so. So where the biggest thing for this one is, again, very similar to the 6th hole, is you'll have to land very close to this top surface. The mistake that I'll see a lot of guys do is they might land towards the center, which makes it very hard to get close to the hole if you land towards the center. So you want to be landing, within a ring or close to a ring from the top of this fairway. And then with hopes that the second hop clears and then runs out. And the most common mistake will be for that second bounce to clip the rough. Now, this is kind of where wind effect and all that good stuff needs to come into place, because of the fact that, in the headwind case, that's why you have to back off this topspin, use only about 2.5 bars for those headwinds, is because of the fact that that ball guide's going to be compressing, and you got to make sure that you stretch out this distance for it to make sure that the first bounce and the second hop both clear. So let's talk a little bit about what I use for adjustments. So for a side wind, for example, I'll usually use max club. Pretty much spot on. It's just pretty much max. Only other thing that I'll do to that is offset my ball guide. Maybe about 1 per 4 miles per hour or so. So if it's 12 miles per hour, I'll offset 3 ball guides, 3 little green grids, and, just proceed as normal. For a tailwind for this hole, I'll usually use max plus 10%. So if it's this case right here, which is, any of these 3 cases. So let me just, make some kind of, key here for these are the 3 cases here that I'm going to consider tailwind, for example, and we'll use that. And for this side wind case here, that's going to be these winds that we're talking about. Next is going to be the headwind kit situation, where I'll use, and it's going to vary. I might use plus 20%. I might use plus 30%. It really just depends on how big the headwind is. The more of a headwind, the more that I have to adjust. I've had headwinds as large as, 12, 13 miles per hour before in these situations. It makes this shot very, very challenging. And when I'm inputting a wind here, for example, 11 miles per hour, I might need to go plus 30%, for instance. And this is one of the biggest mistakes is, guys won't try to go, 15 rings. Another thing, you have to make sure that you have the rings to go. So you might start to get very towards max club and actually need to start going into overpower. Guys will land short on this fairway and it'll usually clip this rough. It'll be a very common mistake. Plus they're not adjusting, 14.6 rings on an 11, for example. So in these cases, as I mentioned in the legend, there'll be some variance. The larger the headwind is, the more that you'll want to go. So, this is pretty much sums up everything as to how that you're going to go about it. Good luck with this hole and see you guys on the next one.